Hello students, I welcome you all to the next chapter of your science. This is a very interesting chapter, chapter number 10, Reaching the Age of Adolescence. Students, let me first give you an idea about the concepts that we will try and cover in this chapter. So I'll first take you through what is called as the roadmap of the chapter. Here we'll understand in this chapter the phases of human life. Okay, our entire lifespan is divided into a few stages. So here in this chapter we'll understand what are these stages, and then we will cover a very important stage which is called as adolescence. Okay, I'm highlighting this because this is the most important section. Okay, in simple words, if I have to tell you for now, adolescence means the teenage. In very simple words, of course I'll define it later on as we go ahead. And then we'll try and understand in this phase what are the changes that happen, changes which occur in adolescence. जिंदगी के इस पड़ाव में शरीर में क्या क्या बदलाव आते हैं, that is what we try and understand. Then we will try to understand the role of certain chemicals, which in difficult words is called as hormones, in adolescence. Okay, because when I do these changes with you, you will automatically think, why do these changes occur in the human body? And these changes are actually happening in the human body because in the teenage there are certain chemicals which start working. These are called as hormones in difficult words. So we'll study a bit more about them. Okay, then we will understand the concept of sex determination in humans. Okay, there is a very common question which always comes that, you know, when a husband and a wife are about to deliver their baby, okay, the baby will either be a baby boy or a baby girl. Okay, so from a science point of view, we are very curious to understand who decides the gender of the baby. Okay, whether the mother decides the gender of the baby or the father decides the gender of the baby, how does it work? So there is a very interesting concept which we'll cover over here. And then lastly, we'll try to understand or get some general knowledge about reproduction, okay, which will not only be important, my dear students, for your exams, but also as you are growing and becoming adults in the next few years. Okay, so this will be the last section of the chapter. That note, let us start the chapter. Phases of human life. Okay, students, right from birth till the number of years that we live, okay, we live say 70 years or 80 years. So from birth, the moment we are born, okay, we reach this wonderful stage of our lives, the best stage of our life, which is called as childhood. जिसे हम बचपन कहते हैं. Okay, we are very naughty, okay, and everyone around us pampers us, and it's a very nice phase of life. There is no studies, there's no school, okay, or there are very simple studies, there's no difficult studies, okay. And then there is this phase of life where our parents are, okay, where your parents are, and you always want to reach that stage. This stage is called as a stage of being an adult. And you always know that adult is generally a person above 18 years. And if I tell you childhood is a phase from birth, which means from day one of your life, to the phase of 11 years. Okay, 11 saal. So now you will wonder, what is there between 11 and 18? Okay, this is a very crucial, a very important phase of your life, and this is called as adolescence. Okay, it is from 12 years onwards to 18, or according to some books, 19 years of age. Okay, this phase of life is very often also called as the teenage, because it covers all the teens. 12 से शुरुआत होती है, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, and therefore adolescence is very often called as the teen age of life. Now students, try and understand. Okay, these are the three phases. Now why is this classification made? What is it that an adult can do? Okay, you know some simple things like an adult has the license to vote. An adult gets the license to drive a car or to drive a bike. Okay, and you all are so excited about becoming adults and reaching this phase of life. But from a biology point of view, okay, अभी ये classification हमने biology में इसीलिए नहीं किया है कि 18 साल के बाद इंसान वोट कर सकता है, इसीलिए उसे biology के हिसाब से 18 पे adult बनाया. Okay, biology के point of view से ये classification क्यों है? An adult, meaning a person above 18 years of age, is capable of reproduction. Okay, therefore he is called as an adult from biology point of view, meaning his body is now prepared to bring another life on this earth. That is an adult. Childhood is when the person is not capable of reproduction. So what is adolescence? Adolescence is also when the boy or the girl is not capable of reproduction. Okay, then you will think, what is the difference between childhood and adolescence? Okay, students, try and understand. देखो ऐसा नहीं होता है कि बच्चा till the age of 17 years, okay, till the age, कल वो 18 साल का होने वाला है, तो आज तक his body is not capable of reproduction, और कल जब वो 18 होएगा तो his body is capable of reproduction. ये इतना drastic change नहीं हो सकता. Okay, so what happens? From the age of 12 years, the human body starts undergoing certain changes. Okay, 12 साल की उम्र से बच्चे में कुछ बदलाव आने शुरू होते हैं. There are certain changes in the body of the boy and the girl, and these changes go on for 5-6 years. And what are these changes? These changes are going to make the boy and the girl capable of reproduction after a few years. So understand, adolescence or teenage is about preparing the body to be able to reproduce. Okay, so these 5 years, there are going to be a lot of changes, and at the end of 5 years, at the end of adolescence, okay, you become an adult and then you are totally capable. Okay, so this phase where the body becomes capable of reproduction, or undergoes reproductive changes. This phase is very often also called as puberty. Okay, so on that note, we've taken a good idea about the three phases of the human life. Okay, so if I want to summarize, adolescence is a phase of the human life from 12 to 19 years, and the beginning of adolescence, meaning from 12 years onwards, the body starts the preparation so that it can reproduce. And by the end of adolescence, that is by the time the human body reaches the age of 18 to 19 years, this preparation is complete, and then the human body reaches the stage of becoming an adult capable of reproduction. Students, just a little bit of extra knowledge. Okay, you must know that it is said that the human female becomes capable of reproduction by the age of 18 years, and the human male is capable of reproduction by the age of 21 years. So now we come to a very interesting question. You will say, okay, all these changes happen during adolescence, the body prepares for reproduction, but why do these changes happen? Who's responsible for these changes? Students, there are certain wonderful chemicals in the human body, okay, and these chemicals are produced during adolescence, and it is these chemicals which bring about the changes. In biology, these miraculous chemicals, these wonderful chemicals are called as hormones. Okay, the human body is gifted with many such different chemicals or hormones. Okay, which hormones are responsible for these changes, I will cover as I go further ahead in the chapter. But for now, I would like to tell you that the chapter is about understanding what happens to the human body in adolescence. Okay, so students, if you're paying attention, you will realize that this is your phase of life right now. I'm sure a lot of y'all are right now 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds or 13-year-olds. Okay, so we are going to discuss the changes that are happening in your body, okay, as you all are in the stage of adolescence, or you can say you are in the stage of teenage, or you can say you are in the stage of puberty. Okay, let's go further ahead. The first change which we all find in boys and girls in this phase of life, in puberty or teenage, is increase in height. Okay, you would have so often thought, and you can just try and recollect, okay, when you are 11-year-old, okay, and then after, right now you all must be 12-13-year-old, okay, after 2-3 years, okay, remember all your relatives who have seen you just 4 years back, they will say, "Arey, kitna height बढ़ गया?" Okay, and you are very shocked, okay, ऐसा कैसा बता रहे? Because this is the phase of your life when there is a great change in your height, there is a great increase in your height. So that's the first important change that occurs. The second important change which occurs is change in body shape. Okay, just till the time you are 10, 11, boys look like a childish boy and girls look like little girls. But the moment they reach 12, 13, 14, 15, suddenly you see that the boy slowly starts to look like a man. Little changes, okay? The shoulders become big, the chest becomes broad. Suddenly the boys want to go to the gym and they are getting inspired by all the heroes in the movies. Okay, and the girls suddenly their body is changing. Okay, and suddenly they are looking more like as if soon they are going to become adult women. All these changes start in this wonderful phase of puberty. Just to give you an idea, okay, we can go on the slide. Okay, between age 9 to 19 and 8 to 19. Okay, I've specially shown you 9 and 8 because here you see the boy actually looks like a thin baby boy. Okay, like a kid. And here also the girl looks like a little school going girl. But the moment you are into 12, 13, you see the shoulders becoming broad. You see the chest increasing in size. The most important thing you see is the height is increasing. Okay, there is an increase in height. There you see the shoulders becoming broad. You see the chest increasing in size. You look at the arms, the small arms now trying to become the muscular arms. Look at the changes in girls. Okay, in girls there is one extra change. The waist size increases. Okay, and the shoulders become broad. And you see the little girl starts to look more like a teenage girl, and later on who's going to become a young woman. So that's the second change, changes in body shape. Now, another interesting change in this phase of life is a change in voice. Just till the time of 10 and 11 years, you have a baby-like voice. And when you reach puberty, suddenly there is a change in your voice. Suddenly for boys, now the voice becomes more like a man. Okay, the voice becomes hard. Okay, and suddenly even in girls, now it is no longer a baby voice. Okay, it's more like a girl's voice, more like a woman's voice. So this happens because there is development of the voice box in this phase of life. So I write it here in small. Voice box in biology is called as larynx. Okay, and this development of larynx occurs in boys more. Okay, and it becomes very visible. Sometimes the voice box becomes very visible, and therefore boys get this button-like structure coming out. Okay, suddenly boys are very excited about this structure which comes out. This is called as Adam's apple. Okay, student, you can get this as an objective question as well. So this development, what is this? This is nothing but the voice box which is increasing in size. And why did the size increase? Because of puberty, there are certain hormones which have caused increase in the size of the larynx or the voice box. Adam's apple. In girls, this is not so much visible, and it is always more visible in boys. Now, the fourth very important change which occurs is that the skin becomes oily. Okay, and why does the skin become oily? Because students, in our skin there are sweat producing glands. Okay, हमारे स्किन में ऐसे ऑर्गन्स होते हैं जिनमें से जो पसीना बनाते हैं, मीनिंग स्वेट बनाते हैं, और फिर ये स्वेट हमारे स्किन में से बाहर आता है. तो ये जो स्वेट बनाने वाले ऑर्गन्स है ये कहाँ पे है? हमारे स्किन के अंदर है. ओके, देयर साइज एंड देयर नंबर of these organs increase. These organs are called as sweat glands. Sweat glands and oil glands. There are two types of glands. Okay, students, remember what are glands? Glands are the organs which produce chemical. Sweat glands produce sweat, माने पसीना. Oil glands produce oil. Okay, which is very often known as sebum. And during puberty, the number of sweat and oil glands increase, and therefore skin is oily. And when the skin is oily, boys and girls get pimples, जिसे हम कहते हैं मुहासे. Okay, it is very troublesome. Suddenly your face has got these pimples, which I try to show you on the next picture. Okay, but students, look at this and think about it. You start getting such pimples after the age of 13 years, after the age of 14 years. Look at your right now, maybe some of you all don't have these pimples, but look at your brother or sister or a friend who's 16-year-old, 17-year-old. They'll have these pimples. Okay, and if you see your friend or your brother who's 10-year-old, 9-year-old, they don't have these pimples. So it is strange that the pimples are coming only in puberty. So remember, why are they coming in puberty? Because of this particular reason which I have just shared with you. Apart from this, now your brain starts developing more and more. Okay, and suddenly you become more and more understanding about, you get more and more understanding about life. Okay, your intelligence develops. There is your mental development. So this is known as mental, intellectual, and इमोशनल डेवलपमेंट. अगर ये सारी चीजों को मैं एक सिंपल लैंग्वेज में बताऊं तो मैं कहना चाहता हूं, अभी आप में समझदारी बढ़ने लगती है. ओके, आपको धीरे धीरे इस बात का अंदाजा होने लगता है कि क्या चीज सही है, क्या चीज गलत है, क्या करना सही है, क्या करना गलत है. ओके, धीरे धीरे आपके अंदर इमोशंस आने लगता है. आप सोचे, ओके, अगर कोई 13-14 ईयर ओल्ड बॉय या गर्ल है, इसको अगर आपके स्कूल की टीचर डांट देती है, ओके, तो उन्हें बहुत बुरा लग जाता है. ओके, पर जब 9 या 10 इयर्स के थे, तभी जब आपकी टीचर डांटती थी तो आपको समझ में नहीं आता था. ओके, आज अगर आप 13-14 इयर्स के हैं, या आप आपके किसी फ्रेंड्स को देखें जो 16-17 इयर्स के हैं, इफ समवन टेल्स देम समथिंग बैड, ओके, इफ समवन हर्ट्स देम, दे फील हर्ट, बिकॉज नाउ your mind, your brain has got emotions, you have got feelings. Okay, you start liking people, you start disliking people. All these are the important changes of puberty. Students, these are the 5 important changes that I have shown you. There are 2 more important changes which I will be covering on the next side of the flip chart. But before that, you can pause your screens and take notes of this section. Students, we come to the next 2, the last 2, but very important changes which happen in puberty or in this phase of a human life. This change is called as primary reproductive changes. And the next one is called as secondary reproductive changes. So what are the primary reproductive changes? The primary reproductive changes, meaning those changes which are directly responsible for reproduction. And the secondary reproductive changes are those changes which are not directly related to reproduction. Okay, let us try to understand them in more detail. Students, as you know, in our body there are different systems which carry different activities. Okay, the digestive system helps in digestion of food, खाना हजम करने में मदद करता है. Respiratory system helps in breathing. Okay, lungs air और oxygen और carbon dioxide को environment के साथ exchange करने में मदद करता है. Okay, the nervous system thinks. Okay, the excretory system produces waste matter. Okay, helps in excretion of waste, removal of waste. Similarly, in the human body, to carry out reproduction, there is a separate system, and this system is called as the human reproductive system. Okay, now understand, till the age of 12, meaning जब आप childhood में होते हैं, okay, जब आप बचपन वाले phase में होते हैं, at that time the reproductive system is not developed. Okay, when you reach adolescence, in boys the male reproductive system starts developing, and in girls the female reproductive system starts developing. So just to understand what are these reproductive systems, let us look at the picture and understand what is developing. Okay, on the slide you are able to see the male reproductive system, which has got this organ, okay, the oval shaped organ called as testes. It is actually spelled as T-E-S-T-I-S singular, and they are 2 in number, so the plural is T-E-S-T-E-S, testes. What happens to the testes? They start to develop, they increase in size. Okay, students, these are organs which are located in the private parts of boys, and these testes produce the male egg cell, or what is called as a male reproductive cell. Okay, so they start to produce male reproductive cell, or the sperm cell. This cell has got one more name, sperm cell, which can be an important objective question. Okay, so till the time of 12 years, the testes are silent, they are not producing any cells. But when the boy reaches adolescence, the testes grow in size, and now they start producing sperms or the reproductive cells. Okay, now there are other organs in the reproductive system which you can see in the picture. This C-shaped organ or a cap-like organ which is called as epididymis. Then there is this tube-shaped organ called as vas deferens, which is labeled here. And then there are these glands again over here called as prostate gland. Okay, and there is seminal vesicles. And then there is this organ called as penis or urethra. Students, just remember, you don't have this in a lot of detail, but you just need to remember that these are all the organs of the male reproductive system. They help the boys to carry out reproduction when they become adults. And all these organs, they start developing in the phase of adolescence. So, there is development of male reproductive organs, and these organs are directly connected to reproduction, and therefore it is coming under primary reproductive changes.